I'm the Environmental Education Coordinator with Sound Salmon Solutions. SSS is one of the 14 regional fisheries enhancement groups located throughout the state of Washington, working to protect our salmon. Our mission is to connect each of you with our watersheds for the future of salmon. I am so excited to have you out here today for your virtual field trip to Jones Creek. Today, we're going to be using a variety of scientific methods to test the water quality of Jones Creek. So let's get started. Come on, follow me. One of the most important skills scientists develop is their power of observation. To start your virtual field trip here at Jones Creek, take the next few moments to quietly observe this natural habitat. There is space provided on the top of your worksheet to draw and/or take notes about what you're seeing, hearing, feeling, and thinking. Have you spotted any wildlife? What's the weather like? If you were a salmon, do you think you would find Jones Creek appealing? What kinds of plants do you see? There are no right or wrong answers here. Just record what you deem important. So what is water quality? Water quality refers to the physical, chemical, and biological condition of water. Like many plant and animal species, salmon rely on good water quality for their health and survival. Scientists have a variety of methods for testing water quality in order to determine whether a particular stream, creek, or river is providing suitable habitat for our salmon. You are going to become scientists today and help us run some of those tests to determine whether the water quality here at Jones Creek is good for our salmon. Just based on the observations that you made earlier today, do you think the water quality here is going to be good or poor? Alright, we're ready to conduct our first water quality test for dissolved oxygen. The test kit we're using today is called the indigo carmine method. Basically, we have these ampullae filled with a chemical solution designed to react with oxygen present in the water. To conduct the test, we snap off the tip of the ampule, causing it to fill with water from the sample we just collected from Jones Creek. The solution inside will change color depending on how much oxygen is present. So now we need to compare our sample to the shades of blue in the standard in order to determine our DO level in parts per million. Based on what I'm seeing, it looks like the DO level of Jones Creek is somewhere around 8 to 10 parts per million. But we'll go ahead and take a look at some of these upper numbers again. Go ahead and record our results on your worksheet and circle whether or not we met the Salmon Standard. The next water quality standard we're going to test for is temperature. In order to get the most accurate reading, we want to be sure our thermometer is suspended freely in the water column as opposed to resting on or in the sediment. We also want to allow plenty of time to acclimate. Keep an eye on the mercury in the thermometer. You may have noticed we've already dropped a few degrees. Now that our temperature has been stable, we can go ahead and record our results. What does the temperature reading look like to you? To me, it looks like our water temperature is around 54 degrees Fahrenheit. Be sure to write down your findings on your worksheet and circle yes or no for whether we met the Salmon Standard. Now we're going to test turbidity. This tube is filled with water from Jones Creek, and the small disc you see is called a Sankey disc. We're going to slowly lower the Sankey disc until it's out of view. As you can see, we reached the end of the rope and the disc is still fully visible. So now we consult the side of the tube to get our turbidity reading in Jackson turbidity units. With the disc fully visible at the bottom of the tube, our reading is 0 JTUs. Record our results and determine whether or not we met the Salmon Standard. Just as an example, I collected a second sample after kicking up the sand and silt at the bottom of Jones Creek. Following the same procedure, let's compare this sample to the last one. As you can see, it took much less time for us to lose sight of the disc, and our turbidity level is much higher at around 45 JTUs. Water that looks like this makes it very difficult for salmon to survive. In In order to test for phosphates, we collected 10 milliliters of water from Jones Creek, and we'll be using test strips designed to react with any phosphates present in our water sample. Similar to the DO test, our water sample will change color, and then we will compare our sample to a standard. To begin, we first need to place a test strip into the vial containing our sample from Jones Creek. Next, we need to cap the vial and invert it 5 times. This ensures adequate mixing and provides enough time for the reaction to occur. Next, we remove the test strip and be sure to dispose of it in a waste container. Now, we're ready to take our reading. Moving along the standard, we can compare the color of our sample to determine the level of phosphates currently present in Jones Creek. It looks to me we've got a reading of 0 parts per million, but 0.1 would be an acceptable reading as well. Moving further along, it's clear our phosphate level isn't as high as 0.2 or 0.3 parts per million. Please record our results and determine whether we met the Salmon Standard. Great job, and thanks for all your help today. Based on our results, it seems that Jones Creek is meeting all of the water quality standards for suitable salmon habitat. Just to summarize, our dissolved oxygen levels were measured at above 8 parts per million. Our water temperature was below 64 degrees Fahrenheit. Phosphate levels were below 0.1 parts per million, and turbidity was below 10 JTUs. While Jones Creek met all of our water quality standards today, it's important to note that water quality can change from day to day. Like many of our waterways in Washington, Jones Creek runs through a densely populated area, and our individual actions can impact water quality. The focus of the next part of your field trip is going to be stewardship in action, or all of the steps that we can take to ensure healthy waterways for both us and salmon. But we've included lots of great resources on the website, and I hope you'll take the time to explore them before then. I also hope you've had a great time out here at beautiful Jones Creek, and I can't wait to see you next time. Until then!